Welcome back to the channel. It's Uncle Roy. We're at it again. Listen, quick little piece of information I wanted to drop. This was another little mind blower for me that, I'm not currently in this situation, but I've been there before. Let's say you're into a mortgage and you're into a 30-year and, you and the wife are working hard and you want to just pay one extra payment a year. That could cut like 7 years off your mortgage. How would I do that though? And let me just use some round numbers just to throw this out there and make this simple. So if you got $1,000 a month mortgage and you want to make one extra payment a year, that's going to be about $83.33. So if it's a couple together and it's just you and your better half, that's literally each of you saving about $10 a week. It shouldn't be terribly difficult for each of you to save about $10 or so, maybe $11, and then you throw that in a shoebox at the end of the month, and at the end of the year you take the money out and make the extra payment. Very important note, if you do that, you need to make sure that that payment is going to principal. You have to contact them. Usually they're going to make you mail it in or mail it to a special department or attention somebody else. Remember, when you're chopping 7 years off your mortgage, that's 7 years of interest they're not going to receive, which doesn't benefit them. Although profit's not a dirty word, I'm looking out for you. So keep this part in mind when you actually, try to do this, that you make sure that payment is applied to principal. Because if not, they just apply to next month's payment, and they say you don't have a payment next month, you're still on the 30-year schedule. Even though you may pay it off still early, you're still going to pay them all the interest then. So very important piece of information, but this stuff isn't taught in school. Everybody knows you gotta hurry up, run out and get a house, but no one tells you how to pay it off early. Another little thing too, the haters are going to come out and say, well, you're sitting there making that extra payment to the house, you should be investing that in this, and you could be getting a bigger return since your mortgage is only at 2 or 3%. The part that they're not telling you though is risk. You may be investing in that little extra money, that $1,000 a year, in something else, but if it goes to crap, there was no risk of paying your mortgage off early. There is risk in investments, and a lot of people just aren't willing to take that risk. So that's something to keep in mind when you'll hear the haters mad that you're either A, getting ahead, and paying off your mortgage early. That's usually your biggest expense that you have in your life. Once you are freed of that, my God, what can you do with your kids, grandkids, friends, family members, neighbors, churches? Everybody wants to give and wants to do, more than what they're doing, but usually that's like the biggest expense. If that was gone, let's say 7 years early, think of what you could do. And, if you have the means or you're disciplined enough, you can make an extra house payment every quarter. Sit down with the better half, figure out, hey, this is how much it would take for us to make 4 extra payments a year. We'd each have to save this much a week, or pull out, or maybe do a side hustle. Maybe it doesn't come out of the regular budget. At least if you're doing a side hustle, please have a purpose for it. It gets real overwhelming if you're doing a side hustle, then you get that money and it's not really benefiting you, or it's not going to something that you can see. I challenge you to write down your debt on a little dry erase board, hang that on the fridge, and keep it in front of your face constantly to remind you what you're doing this thing for. I just want to see everybody get successful and everybody get to their little financial freedom. And it's different for everybody, but man, once you get there, God, just try it one time, and if you don't like it, you can always go back. And one last thing too, the people who again are telling you to invest in other stuff and not pay off your mortgage early, remember that once you're paying this down, you're building equity into it, where God forbid if something bad does happen, and good things happen to bad people all the time, bad things happen to good people as well too, vice versa. But you've got to, if you got to pull that money, at least you'll have access to it. If it's in something else where you don't have access to it, or it drops significantly, that's going to be an issue. So again, Uncle Roy, just looking out for you. If you've enjoyed this content, please do me a solid, fist bump the like button, subscribe, hit the little notification bell. Until next time, let me know what's going on in your world. Sheesh.